Cup going on. You've got the return of Owen Farrell for England, who was on his suspension. He was named captain. He slotted in at 10. England's taken on Chile. But I think the biggest news out of France is the fact that their star scrum half,
Oh
Antoine
yeah.
Dupont, who, if you watch that France-Namibia match yesterday, I mean, France took it to him, but unfortunately, Dupont fractured his cheekbone in the second half. So some people are questioning what he was doing out there in a game that was starting to get a little lopsided. But I
Right.
think reports suggest now that he's going to miss the rest of the World Cup.
Rest of the World Cup. Yeah, I saw something also about the maybe getting back into the semis, but yeah, that could be tough. I mean, it's if it's that bad of a break, you can't really do anything with like a plastic shield. That doesn't help any. So
No, no.
no, no, and you know what? I don't like second guessing coaches that much. I know we all do. I know I've had some parents second guess a lot of things I've done when I'm coaching their kids, um, but you look at that. You know, it's a game, it's a match that you're playing against Namibia's second side, pretty much also. Yeah, he wants to play. Of course, all the top level athletes want to be on the field. They want to win the game for their home nation. They want to play the minutes, that kind of thing. But I don't know. You pull them out after you're up 50-0. Get the other guys in. But we do have a limited bench at the international level. But again, it felt like even gets to the point where you're kind of like, you know what? Maybe it should be like the youth rules where you're up by a certain amount of points and go ahead and maybe pull 2 or 3 players. So you're playing down a player or two. Don't do that. I'm just saying that could be an idea.
Yeah, I mean, I think that that demeans the opponent. Obviously, you don't want to see scores get run up too high, and everyone was so competitive out there. They want to perform well on such a big stage, but my bigger issue is just, it's such an unfortunate break for, pardon the pun, the poor pun there, but like such an unfortunate situation for France. They've had a number of key injuries now, and for them to be the host nation, getting to the quarterfinals, to have such a big player potentially missing the rest of the tournament, and that's just unfortunate. They're still such a strong team. I still think they're contenders there, but yeah, it's just unfortunate. It's the way this game is sometimes.
No, it's weighted a lot of times. What's the game? What's the match you're looking forward to the most this weekend?
Ooh, there's a lot of good ones. I think obviously a lot of people are very excited about that Ireland South Africa match. I think both,
Yeah,
have a shot here going all the way. I think the winner of this match will probably win the pool. Particularly with South Africa, you know how they're going to play that 7-1 split.
oh yeah.
That's so much that bench split that is so much fun. But I think the other matches that I'm pretty excited about for this weekend are, seeing how Samoa performs against Japan. I think Samoa can win. Oh, sorry, I'm a, I'm jumping ahead.
Jump
Sorry.
ahead, yes.
Yeah, Scotland Tonga should be an interesting match. I think that's the one I was trying to key on. That'll be fun to watch. England Chile will be interesting. You love these quote unquote tier two nations and seeing how well they've performed this year. And I think the most interesting one potentially is that Wales Australia one. The loser,
Oh
if
yeah.
Australia loses this one, they're not, they're done, right? I don't think they get out of that pool at all. Um, for them to bring on Eddie Jones and right before they host the Rugby World Cup in 2027, for them not to get out of a pool, that would be a pretty devastating blow for them. So there's a lot of interesting storylines this weekend.
Yeah, and indeed, and outside of the Rugby World Cup, the Men's World Cup, some women's sevens news you posted in the newsletter this morning about USA to compete in the Fiji Invitational. What do you have about that?
Yeah, yeah, that's really neat because I guess it's kind of like the final tune-up ahead of the rebranded sevens season that's coming up. So USA, yeah, they'll be traveling to Fiji, that invitational there, to take on some nations in that part of the world. Again, the U.S. women's sevens, they're in a good spot, right? They've already qualified for the Paris Olympics. And honestly, Bill, I think all of us, I think the expectation, and we've talked to a few of the sevens players, is they want a medal, and not just medal. They want to win the gold, and I think they've got a real good shot. But I
Yeah,
think what I'm most excited about, and the first name that I looked, Alona Mar,
yeah.
she's back on the roster. So that's great to see, considering she had that injury. We talked to her a few months, I think a few weeks after the injury
Mm-hmm.
happened.
Mm-hmm.
And she shared with us that it was the first time she's had a major injury, right? And so just the physical and mental, really just like dealing with a major injury and a major setback.
Yeah.
It's good to see that she is fit and healthy enough that she's been selected for this traveling roster. So that I think that's good news. Jazz Gray, she was injured too. She's coming back. She's got wheels. She can fly. So for those two big stars to be introduced back onto the roster, that's got to be exciting. As we really look forward
Hmm.
to the Paris Olympics, and again, I think they got a real good shot at a gold medal here.
Yeah, I do too, and it's great to see Ilana and Jazz Gray. I like seeing Jazz Gray in the mix. Basically the future of this team. It's great having her back on, and so she's so fast too. I love watching her play. And our guest on Wednesday night, Wendy Young came on. She talked a bit about Emily Bidwell's
Yep.
influence on this team. So it's good to see her getting us going. What is this? Her second year in at the helm?
Yeah, I think into the second, going into the third, perhaps. Yeah, time's been warped the last few years.
Yeah, I know it. So and you look at what coaches can do if they have more time. I feel bad. I a little feel bad for guys like Scott Lawrence. Milton Haig coming in now as interims. Because I don't know. Scott's taking it as the men's side, the men's 15 side, taking it as this is my job. This is it. This is my program. I'm going to run it whether I'm here for 5 years or here for 5 months. So I love that.
Mm-hmm.
But to have that weight off your shoulders like Emily has, I think helps.
Yeah.
Less pressure to go. So
I mean, if you look at this,
yeah,
sorry, one more thing on that. If you look at this roster for this Fiji Invitational, I mean, there's some big names on here, and this looks like the roster that's going to go to Paris. Cheta Emba's on there, Kelter's on there, Tapper, Kristen Thomas, Kershey, Ramsey, Sammy Sullivan, Lauren
mm-hmm.
Doyle, Summer Harris Jones, just to name a few of them. Like, if everyone stays healthy, and hopefully that's the case, knock on wood, this is a really strong squad.
Yeah, indeed. And I'm pumped. I can't wait to see that. Hopefully, it's broadcasted over here. I can't see why it wouldn't be, or at least streamed online. So we definitely got to check that out.
TBD.
TBD. Yeah. Hey, let's pivot a bit. One thing we talked about Wednesday night also was the WPL. The final weekend is coming up. You mentioned in there about Week 13 recap last week. So this is Week 14 coming up. Who do you have, man? I mean, I know I've watched a couple matches, and they're hard to see online, but in person, I've seen Beantown play. Some of these teams after this weekend will be missing some of their international players as they're heading over to Ireland or to Wales, or they're missing this weekend. So Beantown has a chance to move into second place over Colorado, with Colorado being off this week. I don't know. Do you have many eyes on this league, on these teams? Any thoughts about how this is going to finish?
What I think is great about this year is, you mentioned eyes on this team, is that the games are shown, I think, rebroadcast on YouTube, right? So again, just any opportunity for fans to be able to watch is key. You bring up the regular season. Berkeley has the number one seed. I think they've had that locked down for a little bit, and depending on how things shake out this weekend, 2, 3, and 4 are kind of up in the air, with Colorado
Mm-hmm.
has that 2 spot right now. I know you're a big Beantown fan. I mean, that's your area there. So you tell me, is Beantown, how are they going to face this? How are they going to fare this weekend?
Well, I mean, you look at some of the players that are losing already. Jenny Kronish is gone.
Mm-hmm.
A couple players there. I think it was who else is on the team? I think it's what is her name? It'll come to me in about 8 minutes when we're done here. But Yeja Dunn, Paige, they're going. So it's going to be tough. Although we one thing we mentioned with Wednesday night, and again, if you're tuning in, listening online, that podcast with Wendy is available on the U.S. Rugby Happy Hour Live podcast. You can listen to what she says about it. Lots of information from Wendy is great. Berkeley All Blues only have one international player on their roster, but they have international level players, and some just maybe not able to commit to going overseas because of jobs or whatever else. So I don't know. It's I think Beantown may be out. I want to see them win, but we're losing those players. It's going to be tough on them. You could see maybe a Berkeley and Colorado final, especially Carly Waters, who will be gone also from Colorado. So they're going to get hit as well. So, Yeah, I don't know. I'm still cheering for Beantown for my my Bush's baked beans sponsored Beantown. With okay, move away from WPL. Just quick notes for those listening in. Thank you so much for listening in live. Thank you so much for listening online on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. Unfortunately, our guest is not able to make it with us today. We've just had some technical difficulties on both ends, not his fault. But we are already in process of rescheduling Milton Haig, the USA Women's Interim Head Coach, for next week. We'll probably do another daytime show since he's going to be in Europe, and probably another Wednesday night show as well. So with that said, unfortunately not able to make it, but we're going to chat for a few more minutes. If you'd like to come in, add a question online, or one or two of you on listening in live on Twitter, if you want to talk and chat with us, go for it. And then we'll wrap up probably in about 10 minutes. Okay, Fitzy, moving away from WPL.
Yeah.
What else you got? Anything else exciting to share about? Anything?
Well, I think yeah, let's stick on the women's Eagles here for a
Yeah.
second, right? So we know that this build-up is for the WXV2 competition, which is taking place in October in South Africa here in a few weeks. And right now, they're training in Dublin, Ireland, which is awesome. And they're going to be scrimmaging against the Irish team and then prepping to take on Wales next weekend. One, awesome that they're able to get some more time together, right? And I think that's kind of a big issue across the board for USA Rugby is just time together, and it's great that so many of the women's Eagles are playing overseas in the Premiership there. But it's good that they can train against Ireland. That Wales match is going to be really interesting. I want to talk about that because USA right now is ranked 7th in the world. Wales is ranked 6th in the world. The women's Eagles are just, a couple spots, underneath, let's call it tier 1, right? The top 3.
They're right there. Yep.
They're right there, right? But it seems like there's been maybe not meeting expectations over the last couple of years. So I think this, we talked with Wendy about this too on Wednesday. This Wales match will be a good barometer for where currently the team is, and then what we may expect to see from them going into this WXV. I struggle to say that.
I know.
The tier 2 competition there in South Africa, because they're going to be taking on the likes of like Italy and Samoa, and I think I'm blanking on the other one, but teams that historically we matched up really well against, and probably should win, right?
Absolutely. I think we should win all 3 of those matches. And you remember we played Wales last year during the Premiership Alliance Premiership season for Wales warm up for, I think they were facing somebody. They're the Six Nations. That's right. Wales was getting ready for their Six Nations, and they played USA in kind of a friendly. And they were all Alliance Premiership players, and a couple of other players came in from overseas, and we beat them. Probably easier than I expected it to happen, but again, that was a warm-up match for Wales as well. So who knows who they had out there? But that kind of stuff is promising. I can't imagine we're too close to Wales to lose this match. And one of the questions I want to have for Milton going into this is how important this match is for him. Wendy said it was really, really important to kind of set that trend, win this match, go into South Africa riding a high, saying, "Yep, we just took out one of the a team ranked next to us, and now let's go down there and prove that we should be in tier 1." So that's great.
Absolutely. And what's interesting too is that because a number of nations, right, England, Wales, now France, are starting to professionalize, right? So some of the women are getting paid, right? They're signing, full-time contracts. There's a few other kind of like on some part-time stuff. So you can see how there's kind of this this wedge that's forming where more unions are putting, and rightfully so, putting more money and resources into women's rugby. I mean, you can see with the Red Roses how well they're performing. Canada, right? Like they're a top-notch squad. That is another nation where the last few years they've seemed to be able to perform really well against the USA, but for the US and Canada to really make that leap up and challenge to win a Rugby World Cup, there needs to be more money and resources flowing into the game. And I think the other nations starting to see it. Again, Wales starting to pay the players. England already has a number of players on full-time contracts. I think we're getting there in the U.S. I think there's the recognition like that needs to happen. Otherwise, we're gonna kind of fall back or fall behind, maybe as a way to put it.
Yeah, and one of the things I was going to ask, well, we're definitely going to ask Milton,
Yeah.
the differences between the American development program and New Zealand's.
Yeah.
There is that league they have down there, a 4-team league where it's I'm not even going to try to pronounce it right now, but it's basically Super Rugby for 4 teams, and darn well all 4 teams are loaded with black fern quality or
Hmm.
qualified talent. 4 teams. And you look at the United States, we have 10 WPL teams or 8. Can we do something like that? Can we get it down to 4 teams or something? Not to dismantle WPL. I love it. Maybe have another branch, another league, and then you pull together these players and maybe bring them back at a more professional level. Bring them back from Europe to join whatever league it is above WPL, or WPL becomes that league, and then you have a sister league with the other teams. So it's there. The potential is there for us. It's just money, like you just said. We need money. I think
Sounds
you
like we
just
got
said
a
it.
lot of questions to ask Milton when he can join us next week.
Are you writing this down? I hope so. Let's keep with USA for a moment longer. I'm actually really excited. I guess Hope Rogers. I spoke with her yesterday. She's actually not certain if she's going to be able to return for South Africa. I
Mm,
think she's still a bit nicked up. She's hoping to be playing,
yeah.
but she's not 100% certain yet either. So she's huge for us.
Yeah.
But she's also been out of form for a while with being injured. What impact would she have coming in right away without even playing any games with Exeter? So there's that issue. Kate Zachary, I think, is still the key for leading this team. We laughed about the other night. Where is she going to play?
Yeah.
I know Rich puts her at certain places, but now Milton's going to have her next week. So does Milton put her? I don't know. I guess you got to see who's available. She's not going to play.
Yep.
She's not going to prop for Hope, but you can put her out
Yeah.
there. I think she gets lost. I think she gets lost in the wing.
Yeah.
But she
I
can
agree.
score tries out there. But she's just so strong, maybe in the centers or at loose forward. Either one of those, and I'm losing my voice. Yeah, that's what I'd love to see her. Have you thought about any other players along the way that, like, I'm excited to see that one get out there?
Yeah. I think we're all optimistic that Hope Rogers can be in form and be healthy. And if she's not, then make sure she gets fit and ready to go. And it's an opportunity for obviously for other players to step up and perform well. I think when we spoke on Wednesday, Wendy Young highlighted a couple of players joining from the WPL who are kind of standouts. I think the one was
Yeah.
Paige Statopoulos. I'm so
Cephalopolis.
bad at.
Yeah, I tried saying it.
I think that is Greek,
Greek,
but
yeah.
she was one that Wendy had mentioned. Again, she's one of your Beantown players.
Yep.
Excited to see what she'll be able to do, and um, um, Yija Dunn, I believe that was another one.
Yep.
Yaja Dunn, she's another Beantown WPL player. So opportunities for her to perform well. It's again just game time, right?
Yep.
Meaningful game time, I think, is important. And also, if you look at the rest of the roster, there's a couple other players on here who are coming from PR7s, which has been great to see. There's a couple of young college players from the U23 program.
Yep.
Olivia Leatherman, Notre Dame College. Like, that's good to see that the pipeline is there and there's some new, fresh faces coming into the mix because injuries happen. And,
Yeah.
you got to make sure that you have players who are ready to step in if need be.
Yeah, and a couple of names we need to look out for. Sakapolu,
Yeah.
sorry. May, I'm excited about her. She's got a
Yeah.
couple caps already. Killed it in U23s. Did well with the senior side. I'm excited about that future with her. You look at who's the other one? Edie. Yep, just Edie. She plays with Sale Sharks. Her second year with Sale. Sagapolo was with Leicester Tires, a brand new team. A lot of support behind them. She's going to grow. Both of them are going to grow quite a bit. And I'm wondering if Georgie Perry-Ellis is geez, I can't talk today. Paris Redding's sister, India, is USA qualified. I would
Yeah.
think.
Why wouldn't she
Yeah.
be? Yeah.
Well, I don't
Yeah.
know. Maybe residence, but then did Georgia go to school? I don't know. Yeah, I would assume
Yeah.
same situation. So keep an eye out for India. If she's good, she'll maybe get a chance with USA.
Hmm.
And then others who I think will be big for this USA performance will be Gabby Cantorna. She's been around a while. Rachel
Yeah.
Johnson's going to be huge. Who else?
Well, if you look at the roster, Summer Harris Jones, who the sevens, she's on that Fiji Invitational roster, and she's also
Oh yeah.
named for the WXV only, in October. So, that's interesting to see. We talked a little bit about that with some other coaches, just what that crossover looks like between sevens and 15. So that'll be an interesting development to watch.
And one thing to watch this weekend, and I know I don't see her on the roster, do I? Jojo Kitzlinski. She's
Yeah,
playing with Barbarians tomorrow,
yeah, that's right. That's
which is
right.
outstanding. She's going to be, let's see, one, two, three. She'll be the seventh USA women to play for Barbarians. Great for her. The last time in 2019 with Ashley Beard, and before that in 2021 we had four players: Sarah Levy, who's back with the team in the training squad,
Yeah,
Blue Matatoga, Hope Rogers, and Alicia Washington. Good to see Alicia in there and as injury reserve. I'd love to see her get back into the mix as far as first team selections. Uh, but yeah, I mean those three, and then after that, Jessica Wooding was the very first player to play for the Babas in
hmm.
2018 against the British Army. She actually scored a try in that match as well. So great to see. I love this whole Barbarian situation for the women. It was about time they got this team going. So great to see her get that. God, I'm mixing my words today. Great to see her get that experience. But I'm wondering if she's done as far as
Yeah.
international play.
I, yeah, that's a good question. That I forgot that she's playing Barbarians this weekend, but you would think she would be on the extended roster for WXV, and who knows? Depending on availability and injuries, I got to imagine she's on that short list.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I'm actually excited. You talked about sevens players a minute ago. I'm excited about Summer Harris Jones out there. I think she'll do great. She's excited, and she's been on our show. Anyone wants to check that out? Check
Yeah,
out the podcast.
yeah,
Great guests as they all are, and a few others. So, all right, a couple more things before we wrap things up. There was something else you listed on there. Oh yes, the fastest collegiate rugger. What's that about?
yeah. I saw that post. Wendy shared it, but it was from the U.S. Women's Rugby Foundation. I guess they're trying to celebrate, and they're launching a contest to find the fastest player in college rugby. So I'm not exactly sure, excuse me, how they're doing it, but it looks like they're having people players submit their times
Hmm.
in the 100 yards and the 50 yards. And I guess from there they'll come up with a short list. But I'd love to see like video of it if they have like 10 finalists,
Yeah,
and we get to see them race each other or something like that. But I'm curious to know who the fastest player is, and who's going to fill this out.
yeah, exactly. I was wondering if they just self-submitted their times. Yeah, I'm the fastest.
They're
Instead,
breaking it down by position too. Like, are you the fastest scrum half? Are you the fastest flanker?
oh yeah,
I'm intrigued by this. Yeah.
yeah, no doubt. All right, let's wrap things up here. One thing I want to say this weekend, if you're tuning in or want to tune into rugby, there's a ton of rugby this weekend. We get the Men's World Cup in about 18 minutes. Argentina plays Samoa on Peacock. I've been tuning in so many of these matches. It's just crazy.
Oh yeah.
Later today, the kicking off the Alliance Cup over in Europe, Exeter Chiefs face Worcester Warriors, and in that match, Olivia Ortiz is starting for Exeter. The others are not playing right now. They're up in camp in Ireland, or Hope Rogers is recovering or hopefully coming back. I haven't seen a stream for that. I wouldn't be surprised if there is one, especially if it's at Exeter. I didn't look that up. They usually do a live stream for their own games.
Mm-hmm.
And then tomorrow, obviously, I was going to ask Milton about Georgia versus Portugal, but we'll do that another time. Uh, Leicester Tigers play Sale Sharks in the Alliance Cup as well. Lisa Washington and Katana Howard are playing in that match, so check that out. Hopefully that's online as well. And later in the day, we got Saracens versus Harlequins Alliance Cup. Lottie Clapp is not playing in that match. She's not with the team with USA either. She's joining the team down in South Africa later. So there is that match. There is, however, Premiership Cup action going on. It's Coventry versus Hartberry University, and Paddy Ryan of the USA men's team is starting. He's starting all three matches. They're actually 1-on-1, they defeated the Saracens in the first match of the year and tied Harlequins last week. Patty playing all 80 minutes of both matches. So, again, unfortunately, most of those matches are not online or not streamed. So check that out. If you can find it somewhere, go for it. And then my match of the week for the World Cup is that South Africa versus Ireland match, which I'm pumped for.
Oh yeah.
So, unfortunately, a little day drinking is involved. So,
Unfortunately.
unfortunately, well, my wife might not be too happy with me at 5 o'clock, but I'll be better. I'll be nice. So that's it. Anything else you want to share, Fitzy?
No, that's it. It's another jam-packed weekend, as you said. S-ton.
S-ton. If you're listening again, check out Rugby Morning online. Go to the Instagram, Twitter mostly, and subscribe to the newsletter. Today's quick question this morning was, what was it, Fitzy?
It was that's a good question. Yes. My question was, do you think Antoine Dupont's going to miss the rest of the tournament? And I think that question's been answered, but he might be back, it sounds like.
Yeah. I believe I answered no, just because it's the World Cup. They do everything they can to get back, and he's too important for that team.
Oh yeah.
So he's gonna look like a mummy out there. He's got like a scrum cap over his face. All right, man. That's it. Let's wrap it up. Good talk about rugby. I apologize to the listeners that we just had some difficulties getting our guest today, but we are going to get him next week. So stay tuned for that, and then also stay tuned for either that show or our Wednesday night show as well, announcements of our guests. But I appreciate you all listening in. Have a great weekend and enjoy your rugby. Remember, there's tons of it. Go for it.